Good morning, everyone. We'll start today's Governance and Transparency Committee meeting at 9:29. The council's in attendance. Everybody's here, full attendance. Moving on to declarations of interest in matters on the agenda. There being none, we'll move on to confirmation of minutes. Would any committee member like to move that this morning? Councillor Kunzelman, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any discussion for those minutes? All right, I'll put it to the vote that the minutes be accepted. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Our first officers' report today is a trustee lease renewal to Axicom Property Limited. Just have to propose an amendment for one of the items here. Yes, in recommendation B, it's a commencing annual rent of $30,000. Okay.
Good pick up.
I was reliably informed.
I'm happy to receive monthly.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
Well, it's one of those ones where it's been negotiated at that rate, so. All right, so do any committee members have questions of the relevant officer on this matter? All right, would any committee members like to move recommendations A through C? Mayor Harding, seconded by Councillor Kunzelman. Any discussion? All right, I'll put the matter to the vote for recommendations A through C to be accepted. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Our next item today is another procurement matter, the Mobile Data Anywhere subscription. Any questions, Mayor Harding?
Richard White, Manager of Procurement.
Is that your name and your position?
Oh, yes. Did I? Yep.
Oh, did you? Oh, my apologies. I missed it. Sorry about that, Mr. White.
That's okay.
May I ask, when did this original contract start?
I do have some information on that. One moment, sorry. Funnily enough, sometimes paper is a little easier.
So I can't hear you, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Funnily enough, sometimes paper is a little easier. I'm just... commenced in 2013 with a subscription service, so annual subscriptions.
Right. Has there been any plans in place? Have we measured any efficiency since this has been implemented or a benefits realisation?
No formal assessment of benefits realisation. When we went back and confirmed with the stakeholders or owners of this product, they did describe high amounts of efficiency they've driven from it, essentially moving out of paper-based and being able to update immediately, and particularly driving governance within the field, being able to utilise forms online through mobile devices to check and say that things have been done and confirm, and then those records being easier to access and to validate and keep.
Yep. I'll be very keen. I think it's great to see that people out in the field can put it on a device. How many subscriptions will there be?
I am sorry.
How many devices are out in the field using that?
I will have to take that on notice,
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry, just looking around the audience to see if Graham was still out there, but he's not. That's all? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. White. Would any members of the committee like to move recommendations A and B? Councillor Kunzelman, seconded by Mayor Harding. Any discussion on the matter?
Just, Chair, if I may point out, it would be good to have a bit more of that background, like when things were first started, how many devices, just a bit more information on that would be really great for us when making these decisions. would be the
All right, well, we'll
comment
get
back to the
those,
council.
we'll get those questions answered
Yeah.
prior to the ordinary meeting. All right, that being the discussion exhausted, we will put that to the vote. Those in favour of recommendations A and B being adopted, that's unanimous and carried. We'll move on to our next procurement matter for today, the Velocity EHS Workplace Health and Safety Management Software subscription. Any questions?
Richard White, Manager of Procurement.
Thank you, Mr White.
okay.
And through the chair, just so I understand this correctly, we've had a sole source contract with this company since 2019? Or have I misread it?
No. So many papers today. Last one to bring up.
I refer to the second page of the background area, which says, at no stage does it appear that an exemption under the regulation be sought to ensure compliance of the engagement.
No, since 2014. So the sole source arrangement in place since 2014. At 5 years, 2019, the contract was renewed and it's been renewed on an annual basis since then. No point was an exemption sought. In particular, last year at this time, it came to me at a point that it was too late to take to council for exemption. I utilised an emergency exemption that I have within my powers, but said that it would be coming to council this year to ensure further, true compliance, and that's why we've brought it back this year.
Okay. May I ask in the last 12 months how often you've used those emergency delegations that you have?
4 or 5 times in the time I've been here for 1,200 contracts that we enter into a year. It's very, very infrequent.
Okay.
And I've always said that this is a one-off deal, you get it, and we come forward and bring it to you.
Okay. I'll probably send an information request to get some information on
That's
that.
okay, I can provide that.
Thank you. Can I ask you also in that paragraph, it talks about the fact that how much is the contract currently? Because it says that here that the amount was more than 15,000 a year. How much is?
It's,
This is
about-
99,000 over 3 years.
Yeah.
What's our current?
33,000 per annum. We're entering into year by year for this because there is a desire to replace this product, whether through iVolve or prior, but I believe that they're considering it through iVolve. The over 15,000 relates to the legislative requirement, so over $15,000 it's considered a medium-sized contract, and that if we are doing sole source, that is when I have to come up and seek your resolution to sole source. So it's probably a little bit clouded with the use of the phrase there, $15,000. So
Okay.
it's just to state that anything over that value should come to you for consideration.
Yeah.
Which is quite low, but the legislation is what it is.
I'm sure there's a reason. So we're currently paying 33,000 a year ex GST. Are we able to negotiate a better price since we're locking in a 3-year contract?
Well, we're only actually going to be signing a year by year.
Right.
So we're seeking your approval to have 3 years worth
3
of
years,
subscription, but we're only going to be entering into a 1-year contract.
No worries. Thank you, Mr White.
No worries.
All right, so would any committee members like to move recommendation A and B? Councillor Jonik has moved, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any discussion on the matter today?
I just think, Chair, if I may make the comment that it's good to see this part of the iVolve project for us to evaluate all our software and how we're delivering services as well. So that's great. Good to see.
Indeed. I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour of accepting A and B? That's unanimous and carried. We'll move on to item 5 today, the procurement matter for professional development, Mayor and councillors. Any questions from the committee today, Mayor?
Richard White, Manager of Procurement.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Watt. May I ask, there's a confidential background paper. May I ask why it's confidential?
I'll be frank, I was in Tasmania up until this week. This one's a new one for me. It was done.
Was there anything, I read through it, I mean, we've already stated the price, I wasn't sure if there was anything. Because it's professional development for the councils, I'd rather be more open with people. And
fair enough.
I guess I'm just asking, why is it confidential? Is there a reason why it's not being published?
It
Maybe
was
I
a
can
commercial and
ask.
confidence material. We
I guess
we
I'm gonna ask
try not
you to
to
look-
do too much in confidence because we know
Yes.
that you prefer it to be.
We'd need to check, Richard.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I
Chair,
would
and
really
come
need
back
to.
to you.
I
May I
didn't
ask, if it's possible, if it can be published, we could do that for the ordinary
Yep, certainly.
council? If that's okay?
Absolutely.
The only thing, just on very quickly checking through, if it has been a tailored proposal, we may just need to check with them that they're okay
Sure.
for us to publish it.
Yes, yeah.
But that would be my only thought, that it's a commercial proposal, so.
Thank you, Mr. White. May I check that the training is face-to-face training? Thank you very much.
Certainly is, yes.
Thank you, Acting CEO. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Right, would any committee members like to move recommendation A and B? Moved by the Mayor, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any discussion on this matter? All right, we'll get that extra information for the ordinary if
Thank you, Chair.
if allowable. I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour of accepting A and B, that's unanimous and carried. Next matter is our last matter for today's meeting, the People and Culture Policies for Repeal. Would any members of the committee like to? Yep, okay.
May I ask the Acting CEO a couple of questions, probably more
Okay.
procedural, if that's okay, Chair?
Yeah, that's fine.
Acting CEO, I know in recommendation it talks about the policy titled Workplace Health and Safety be repealed and replaced. It also talks about a number of administrative directives. Do you mind just talking me through how a policy is repealed, but administrative directives have been set up without coming to council? What's the process there?
Thank you, Mayor. So further to the contents of the report and briefings provided to the councillors last year, we have acted in line with the policy and procedure management framework that was established, where the direction provided at the time that was established in July 2019 was that if the content or subject matter of the relevant policy was in relation to operational matters largely concerning the workforce, that they should be progressively audited and replaced by administrative directives. So these have taken longer than others to review and hence are coming to you at this time. However, it's on that basis that we've proceeded. So our practice has been to come to the council at least being able to confirm for you that there have been appropriate administrative directives put in place to ensure that we have the necessary admin directives and procedures to effectively govern and manage these important matters for the workforce. As you've noted on the very important matter of workplace health and safety, we wanted to ensure that we retained that for the community and for our service to the community and the facilities we provide, as well as the workforce. We absolutely recommend that as an important public-facing policy, but hence have sought to update that to make sure it's contemporary, but really didn't believe that it was necessary to have matters of grievances, as we now refer to them, as public-facing, with nothing to hide, but they really are substantively there for the workforce.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Have these, through the Chair, has this decision gone through the Audit and Risk Management Committee to do this?
They're not a decision-making forum, as in the Audit and Risk Management Committee on these sorts of matters.
Right.
So no.
I guess just noting this council's past history, so I'm probably more looking at that employee complaints policy. Is there any change for employees? Are they still supported? I just want to make sure that employees still
Absolutely.
have that same high level of support in that regards.
Thank you. Again, through the chair, it was before my time, but as part of the business transformation program and with all of the findings and lessons learned through the time of the interim management committee and the interim administrator's term, the importance of having a range of effective and transparent avenues for employees to raise matters of concern around conduct, either by employees or more broadly, was paramount. So it was in fact a priority in the people and culture strategy that was put in place by the interim management committee, and that led to the delivery of that administrative directive that we have put in place for workplace grievances. So I would put to you that it is indeed a strengthened document with very clear provisions in relation to avenues for raising concerns, and in fact I've reinforced that on at least one occasion in my communications with the workforce, both in my usual role as GM of Corporate Services and while acting as the CEO, to make sure, or do the best I can to ensure that employees are aware of the range of avenues that exist, not only for a grievance, but we continue to operate the Fair Call service, which is an independent service that council has in place that's not a common arrangement in organisations in my experience, but that is another avenue for people to raise any concerns they have in relation to conduct or performance.
Thank you, Acting CEO.
Any further questions from the committee? Right. Would any committee members like to move recommendation A, B, C and D? Councillor Doyle, seconder. Mayor Harding. Any discussion? I will put the matter to the vote. Those in favour of accepting the recommendations, that's unanimous and carried. There being no notices of motion or matters arising, I'll declare the meeting closed at 9:47. Obviously, the next meeting will start in 10 minutes, obviously.